my experience of what was behind creation was a being from which I was separate, had no direct connection to, a being that was full of judgment, held on to grudges, and was willing to do something that no parent would do, would be to punish its children forever with severe torment. And I was pointed to materials that were, quote, infallible, that said that. So I would say the first thing is that I lived in fear from a very young age. No one does very well when they're acting out of fear. Never met that person. I experienced, second thing that comes to mind in this moment, and this is kind of all fresh for me. So the second thing that comes to mind to me is that my experience was created by things external to me, circumstances, people, what people said, what people did. So again, I woke up every morning disempowered, because if you asked me, do you think you'll have a good day today? I'd say, I don't know, because it depended very little on me. It depended on what happened that day and what other people said and did. And it even depended on how much I was attracted to and gave attention to things that had happened even many years ago that no longer existed except as a thought, and to things that had not occurred but might occur that I would worry about possibly happening. It was as if every morning the metaphor that's come to mind frequently is Pinocchio. I was a puppet. I handed out strings unknowingly. Life had a string. What I thought God was had a string. People had a strings. And then when they jerked on their strings, I did my dance. My fearful dance, or my angry dance, or my righteous, arrogant dance. I love Sid's statement that I think this simple man was allowed a peek into the mind of what we call God, as big as any peek that anybody's ever had. That's just my own assessment. I love where he says, when the answer is complicated, it's the intellect. When the answer is simple, it's the spirit. I didn't know simple. I wasn't aware of simple. I didn't know in my heart that although at some level I would have glimpses that made me think that truly that the default setting was for all humanity was love and understanding. And that it was only fear that takes us away from love and understanding. I used to say in 1987 or 88, I actually made a set of videos, and one was insecurity and ego, the pain magnets. But even that complicates it, because you can't have insecurity and ego or the need to prove oneself without fear. There'd be no need for it. My lack of awareness of the resources that I had as a human being. My son just turned 44. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. He's got twin girls that just turned 8 and twin boys that just turned 6. They bring, they exude joy, beauty. He owns a construction company and remodeling, and his van, I think maybe it's more now, but I think there's $35,000 to $40,000 worth of tools in his Pettit construction and remodeling van. Metaphorically, for 41 years of my life, until I met Sid Banks on April Fool's Day, which is kind of funny, 1983, I drove around with a van to deal with life's building, and all I had in it was a hammer. I had one tool, which is a metaphor for analysis. Because I thought the only way that I could deal with life when I didn't understand what to do, which was most of the time, was to figure it out, was to go to analytical thinking and to keep doing it, even though it led me most of the time to confusion, mood lowering, anxiety raising, confusion. If that's all you have, if that's all you think you have is a hammer, you just go looking for nails. Some of you, I'm sure, that have heard me speak before, I love the statement from and I block on his name. It may come to me even as I tell the story. Many, many years ago, probably 30 years ago now, there was a movie called Sleeper. I can't say his name right now, but he was often the director and the prime actor in his movies. And in this movie, he awakened after 25 years of being asleep. And when he realized that he'd been asleep for 25 years, his first words were the following: 25 years. Hell, I could have been halfway through my analysis. 25 years. Hell, I could have been halfway through my analysis.